Hey guys, what's going on? It's GrawvyRobber here, bringing you another tutorial. This one is going to be about portrait painting, and the main subject is the one and only myself. I'm going to show you guys a little quick tutorial on doing a self-portrait. Jumping right in, you can see I'm just starting the initial sketch. Keep in mind that this is all done based off me using a mirror. I'm not using a photo. I kind of dislike using photos for portraits, and I avoid photos as much as I can for reference. Something in front of you is always going to be the best reference to capture all the true colors, the truest shape. But yeah, so I have a mirror set up about, I don't know, 2 feet from me. You can figure out your mirror situation. You can do 2 mirrors so you can have a reversed look. There's a bunch of cool things you can do with mirrors and getting a good reference. Or you can just paint a friend or a family member. But yeah, painting from life is great. So I started with my initial sketch. I created a new layer underneath that initial sketch, and I'm kind of just blocking in some value here. Just getting the general shape. I want to start with the darkest darks. I'm not using black at all in this. I started kind of with a green color background. iMovie kind of messed up my colors, so it'll look weird on here. But at the end, I'll show a final snapshot of it, and you'll be able to tell more of what the colors I was using. So I didn't use black. I was kind of using this dark red for my darkest value. As you can see from the initial sketch, it did change quite a bit to this point, so don't get frustrated right away. You really want to nail down that sketch as much as you can. So I changed the sketch. I was manipulating it, cutting parts, erasing a lot, redrawing, drawing, redrawing, erasing, etc. So it's never going to be perfect right off the start. I mean, I shouldn't say never. It may be perfect right off the start, but just don't give up. Just keep going. Keep pushing it. The stuff takes time. Don't be confused by this video only being 7 minutes long. I just wanted to speed things up. It actually took, I think it was like 2 hours over a couple days. I was just jumping in and out whenever I had time. You do want to make sure your lighting situation is the same. So I was sitting in front of a window. I had a lot of natural light. I was only painting during the day, so I could capture that. I only used one single brush. You can see the brush that's selected. I jumped in with like a little texture brush for a half a second, but I think I erased all of that. So you can see that brush. It was a custom made brush. The top of it is a hard round brush and the bottom is just a soft round. But as you can see, I did my initial sketch, blocked in values, started from the darks, worked my way up to the lights. And then I created a new layer on top of that value sketch, and now I'm just blocking in color. And I had a palette created beforehand up top of some colors that I liked. I'd recommend getting a good palette down and figuring out your whole color scheme for your portrait. You can look at old master portraits or of contemporary artists that you enjoy, maybe you like their color schemes. There's a lot of different ways you can come up with a really good palette. But I enjoyed these colors. I started on like this greenish background, which gave some nice, really nice colors showing through on lower opacity parts. So some parts I didn't completely cover the canvas in paint because I wanted some of that green to show through, which is the same thing in traditional oil painting. You'll tone the canvas first. And depending on what you tone that canvas with, a lot of that is going to show through, or hopefully show through, depending on your painting technique. A lot of times it's great when these little nuances come through, and it makes it much more pleasing. It gives a lot of variety instead of just one block of skin tone. You want some of these different colors. So you could very well do a red background, or a blue even looks good sometimes for portraits, with those little blues showing through. But I kind of wanted this warm green and then using a dark red as my main dark value and sketch and all that. They complemented each other very nicely. Later on I did some curves and some adjustments to tweak the colors just a little bit and push values just a tiny bit more, which is totally okay with doing. As you can see here, I'm just jumping into more details, kind of just spending more time zooming in a little bit and getting more precision down, but still trying to be a little bit loose with it. Again, I only spent 2 hours, which is a very minimal time on a paint like this. I could have pushed it further. I could have refined it, added pores, added all these details, but I wanted this just to be a loose, rough painting, which I actually ended up using as my Facebook profile picture and whatnot. But yeah, again, just pushing more. It's nice too to grab some of those greens or some of those unsaturated colors and those grays, and they're great around like cheeks and mouth, and then in like the eye socket sometimes there'll be these like cooler areas of the face. Here I'm finally getting to the highlights, because you want to save those for last as much as you can. You keep pushing. I'd color pick an area, and then I have that color adjustment area, which is right above my brush selection, and I just crank up the brightness a little bit at a time, working my way up in value. Here I did a little bit of curves, and that's pretty much it for this one. Push a little bit more detail. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you have any questions. I hope I covered a little bit on this. Leave a comment. Yeah, I'll try to get back to you guys. Thanks again.